and spending time with my family. But I've seen they were gonna play the Nets today, and even without KD, I just knew the Lakers were gonna lose. I think the Lakers, like I said to you guys in the middle of this year, it looks very good on paper, but they just it's too many high egos with the Lakers.
Yeah.
LeBron, Russ, AD's out, but when he wasn't, it wasn't no different. So I
Yeah.
mean, they're just screwed, man. I think they have to get one. I think they have to get rid of Russell Westbrook as soon as possible, um, if they want to turn their season around, and
Mm-hmm.
try to climb up in the seeds. Um, but I think they also, I think they also have to get some guys who are experienced but not too old, if that makes sense. I feel
Yeah.
like Rondo's kind of out of his prime, as we can say now.
Yeah.
AD's injury prone, LeBron's injury prone, and kind of he's in his prime, but he's just not the same. Um, and the other guys like Carmelo are just streaky guys. They need some guys who are like kind of they get their points every night.
Yeah.
Um, you know, yeah, I already knew they were probably going to lose, and I just they're a really bad team. I'm surprised they're even sixth in the West right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think they're going to make the playoffs, to be honest, if they keep this roster. Um, yeah, what do you think?
I mean, this to me is just another situation where I just feel like the Lakers again are defensively just inept of like keeping guys in front. I mean, they let a guy in Patty Mills go off for 34 points. I know the guy is one of the best shooters in the NBA, but at the same time, it's frustrating to continue to watch this team capitulate each and every time that goes down the court. I mean, I think that Horton Tucker is a great player, but I think a lot of Lakers fans overhyped him in the fact that they were thinking that he was going to be like the next kind of Caruso, next kind of guy that could like really step in and be a starter at an extreme level. Where I feel like Horton Tucker's specialty should be coming off the bench, being a guy that brings the energy like Caruso did when he was with the Lakers, and instead. I just feel like Horton Tucker just isn't able to get his offense going, and you can tell by tonight. I know he was 5 for 11, a little bit under 40%, but defensively was just a mess. And that's not just on him. I think it's the whole rotation of the LA Lakers itself. I just feel like there was a lot of miscommunications on switching and miscommunications on defensive roles. Like, are they tagging the role? Are they, are they trying to blitz more in the coverage, or are they trying to be a little bit more methodical? And do a little bit more hedging. But nevertheless, Tyrese, I think the frustrating thing to me is that you have a guy in Russell Westbrook who played 37 minutes, gave you 4 of 20 for shooting, 0 of 3 from three-point land. Again, I'm not expecting him to be a great three-point shooter, but for Westbrook, I feel like he has to move the ball and get people going. But instead, again, another frustrating thing to look at for the Lakers is you do so well on the offensive end. I feel like this is the first time where you actually get the ball moving.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they missed a lot of threes tonight, and that's what kind of killed them compared to the other team in the Nets, shooting 43% compared to 28.6 for the Lakers. But still, at the end of the day, they got off enough threes for the Lakers, but at the end of the day, the guys that you rely on to make those 3-point shots aren't hitting those shots. Like Malik Monk, 3 of 7, Carmelo, 2 of 7, Stanley Johnson, 1 of 3. I thought Stanley Johnson actually played his butt off, and that's the reason why he was a +6 in the plus-minus category.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got a guy like Derek Collison, who, you signed in a 10-day contract because of all these COVID protocols, and he was just not able to do anything for you. And then there's a bunch of guys that are missing.
Yeah.
Reeves, I think, is a great rookie for them. Like maybe could fill in that Energizer Bunny role, but it is frustrating to look at the Lakers and continue to kind of be frustrated with their defensive principles.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say is that this is more so a credit to the Brooklyn Nets. In my opinion, I felt like they did a really good job. I think Patty Mills was hunting his shot. He was looking good.
Oh, yeah, stagger.
And I think all the role players came to play in this game. I thought Claxton came up with a huge bucket at the end, kind of like a throw-in slam over LeBron James. I wouldn't count that as a dunk, but still a great play nonetheless. But I mean, what else did you think of the game, Tyrese?
I didn't really watch the game because, like I said, I was eating dinner with my family. But to go back to what you said, like as far as the other guys on the Lakers, a lot of these guys are out of rhythm, man. Like Malik Malik Monk, I think he
Hmm.
only probably suited up maybe 4 or 5 games for them since the season started.
Yeah.
Seems like he's been on the DNP or out list for since the season started. Wayne Ellington, not a lot of minutes, even the beginning of the season. Horton Tucker, not really. I mean, he's these last 5 games, he's been getting a lot of excuse me, a lot of more minutes.
Hmm.
But other than that, I mean, there's these guys just don't have enough rhythm. Like Stanley Johnson, they just got for the 10-day contract, right? Darren
Yeah.
Collinson. So and then they're doomed for failure, man. Like what my prediction was at the beginning of the season, man. Like it's gonna be even bad, even worse, I should say, as the season goes on because we're only 34 games in
Hmm.
for them. So yeah, I think they're gonna just it's gonna be so bad to where they're just probably gonna rest LeBron and just shut him down and just try to figure out what they're gonna do next year once they get you know AD healthy and maybe a team will probably maybe trade for him. But I think my prediction is the Lakers are just gonna do very bad with once we get to like the 50 or 60th game, and
Uh-huh.
they're just gonna shut LeBron down.
I mean, my frustration more so in Tar Heel Nation. Let's talk about your question really quick. You said if the Lakers don't re-sign him, do you guys see LeBron James joining the Knicks or the Cavs or the Knicks this offseason? Um,
Nah,
I think if
I
anything, he goes back to Cleveland. But I
yeah,
think the
man.
Lakers are going to re-sign him. I don't think they're going to. I mean, they invested too much into him already. It'd be foolish of them to kind of give up on that investment just like that. Unless you're getting rid of cleaning house with like Anthony Davis, and Russell West, especially Russell Westbrook. I just feel like this Russell Westbrook that we've gotten this season is the one from Washington and is not the one that was in Houston for a little bit, not the one that was in Oklahoma City Thunder. I think what I find fascinating is that Westbrook has been missing a lot of shots around the rim
Hmm.
these last couple games, and it's a little disheartening and a little concerning if I'm the Lakers because he's one of your top players. I mean, he is top three for your team. I mean, he's your third option. I'd feel like, but maybe they see him as a number one option at this point. But I will say what I do find frightening about this whole Westbrook situation is that I don't think that there's any suitors for Westbrook at this current moment with the way that he's playing. I don't think any team is going to look at that and be like, yeah, I don't think I really want Westbrook. Like, what team would want Westbrook at the current moment, Tyrese? Can you think of any team that would want Westbrook?
Hello. Yeah, I'm
Hello?
sorry. What was that?
Um, I was saying that, like, do you think any teams currently would want Westbrook? Um, like, to trade for him? I know that he's been in a lot of rumors and, there's a lot of Rob Pelinka memes. It just seems like that's the direction, but what team would really want Westbrook at this current point?
Um, that's what I was talking. That's what I was talking to my buddy earlier about. Is if the Lakers did trade Russell Westbrook, like who would want his salary on their books? I mean, he's what 33 years old.
Hmm.
He's not even doing a lot for the Lakers in the bright light. So it's like, what could he do for your team?
Yeah.
Um, the only dark horse team I can maybe see is the Lakers trading Russell Westbrook for Kyrie Irving, but Kyrie would have to get vaccinated. But in California, I don't think it's a requirement. So, he could be back with LeBron,
Hmm.
AD, maybe get healthy. But that's the only team. Maybe I can see possibly a reunion with him, James, and KD. But any other team that's a real contender, I can't really see them trading and taking them on the books. I could see the Nets maybe trying to pull something like that from a business standpoint, and then they play together. It's a good storyline. The beef KD and Russell had, now it's squashed. I, that's the only team really I can see possibly trading for, or trade Russell Westbrook. But you know,
Yeah.
any other team, it's like nah. You
Yeah.
you're basically just having him for a stash asset, but he's already 32, 33 years old. So it's like, you know, the only team that'll possibly maybe want him is like the Kings or something. A
I
team
mean,
that's just trying to sell tickets.
yeah, I mean, I'll play this little clip for everybody that's watching at home. Again, you could see the defensive lapse right there from Westbrook. Westbrook's on Patty Mills. No screen happened. Nothing went of whatsoever happened on the play where he should not have gotten to or stayed attached to Patty Mills. Because I mean, basically at this point in the game, he's been shooting it lights out. So to me, this is unexcusable by Westbrook. Not really, you know, going to his man, not getting there in time, and closing out way too late. I just feel like that's what the problem with the Lakers is, that because they're so old at the current point, you know, with a lot of guys on 10-day contracts that are old, with, you know, the whole bench besides Horton Tucker being the youngest guy there, I just feel like they're not really doing a good enough job to really, I would say, get back in transition, get back on defense. The rotations are so off. And, you know, I think the frustrating part, and, you know, Shannon Sharp's tweet's up there, you know, he got a triple double, and I think he'll be happy with that. And that to me is a damn shame if that's really his kind of, I would say, mentality, is that like, oh, I got my triple double, who cares about anything else? Because if I'm the Lakers, if I'm Rob Pelinka, I'm looking to trade him, but like we talked about earlier, Tyrese, it's like, what team would really want him? You know, maybe the Nets could trade for him, maybe the Philadelphia 76ers, but at the same time, you know, if Westbrook isn't finishing around the rim like he is normally, like he was back in the day, why would anyone want Westbrook at this point? And I'm going to pull up Westbrook stats, and if you want to continue to talk, Tyrese, you are free to do so.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I agree, man. Like, I don't understand who. I don't really know who would want him, but if I had to take a wild guess, I would have to say it would be a low market team like the Timberwolves or the Sacramento Kings or maybe even the Clippers, um, that could possibly trade for him. Um, I just can't see Russell Westbrook staying in LA for this remainder of the season. Um, because, like I said, it's either going to be Russell or AD, but they're not. Genie isn't going to get rid of AD because he won a chip with LeBron, and they kind of have
Yeah.
chemistry. You know, they have championship chemistry, but
Mm-hmm.
Russell Westbrook is kind of the lone duck.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get shipped in February or sooner. I possibly even think sooner. They're going to probably start listening to offers. I wouldn't be shocked starting this week coming up.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, man. I just think they got to get rid of him. He's not the same. It seems like he's just trying to get his triple double and promote his brand. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But when you're on a level, when you're on a team with LeBron James, it's kind of like you got to perform and do that. You
Yeah.
have to win games and do that. It's not just one way. That doesn't, that's not how LeBron operates or when you're on the team.
Yeah.
So I think, they're going to have to ship him out. Like, whatever him and LeBron's bond had, yeah, they're still cool. It's just, you don't work with the team. That's it. No hard feelings,
Mm-hmm.
We're just trying to do what's best for our team to get back to where we were. We're still cool. We're still friends. But as far as you being the starting point guard who's making $35-40 million a year, we can't afford you anymore.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna have to ship you out to Sacramento maybe for, like, I don't know, Harrison Barnes and Darian Fox.
Yeah. I think the problem with that though, is that I think if you're gonna ship Westbrook, I think they're gonna want the other stuff with him. Like, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like he's such a liability that they would literally just give up they would literally want everything from the Lakers. Like, if they were gonna trade Westbrook, they would literally have to give up Westbrook with Horton Tucker, maybe even Melo, just to get rid of him.
You think so? I mean, he has a very high salary, so he's making what, north of $45 million. So when you take that into account,
yeah, but these other
the Kings owner, he's not caring about that. He just wants to get tickets and sell his jersey. They're not going to the playoffs or anything anytime soon. You have a lot of low market teams like the Timberwolves who are just trying to sell jerseys and get revenue as much as they can. So
Did,
I don't think I don't. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like, they might ask a lot more for Westbrook because they're a liability, because he is a liability. But there's a lot of low market teams to where they just don't give a crap, man. Like, they're just trying to fill the seats, get revenue, have fans buy the Westbrook jerseys in Sacramento or the Timberwolves or the Pelicans or something like that. That's all they're worried about, because no one wants to come there to begin with.
yeah. I mean, I think what is frustrating, man. It's like, as a LeBron fan, it is frustrating to continue to watch his team struggle. Seems that the chemistry is not there. His help side defense. Obviously, if his team's not trying, I'm assuming he's not trying either. Defensively, at least, in the help side stuff. But I think they're gonna need to start communicating on defense. They're gonna need to start picking it up in that aspect, because I just feel like without that communication on defense, without really being there to really help him out. I just feel like, to me, what I would find frustrating um, if I'm any of these teams, or like if I'm LeBron James, is like, you're putting your heart and soul out there, and then all of a sudden you just continue to get you continue to struggle, and to me that's not okay. But again, we'll see what happens, man. Like, I think that this is a wake up call for LA Laker fans, and also the LA Laker staff themselves, and trying to figure out what is the best move to make. Is it to trade Westbrook? Is it to trade AD? Is it to trade some of these other players? Or is it to finally go and make a move and grab someone that they need to kind of get to where they want to be at this point? And again, they were one of my finals contenders for this year. And the fact that at the same time, Westbrook has still not learned his lesson. Maybe not lesson, but he still hasn't learned his mistakes from previous years playing the way that he does. I just find frustrating and baffling. Especially because I feel like this is Westbrook's last chance in some regard, in terms of like being viewed as like a top superstar player. Where I feel like as soon as he gets traded to another team, I just feel like that allure is going to be gone. Even if he gets triple doubles, even if he puts up the stats, I still think people are going to be like, well, that's kind of like your gimmick. That's all you really do. So let me know what you think, Tyrese. Nope, I guess he, nope. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh yeah, I had a little bit of connection issue.
But yeah, as I was saying, I think this is the final year to kind of view Westbrook, in my opinion, as kind of like that superstar, that, that's getting all the All-Star votes, because I think he is just a gimmick at this point with just the triple double. And I just don't think that that's really gonna, carry weight and fluidity to whatever team he goes on to next, if he does get traded, or if he's continuing on with the LA Lakers. If I'm the LA Lakers, I'm concerned, man.
Yeah,
But
I agree. I agree with you what you said. They have to pick up their defense, man. But it's kind of like defense is all mental, man. It's like it's kind of showing like they don't really try, man. When you got LeBron all the way up the court and you got four guys behind, like that's kind of
mhm.
telling you, right? Like the body language. So I just think they gotta clean that roster. But I just think with so much going on right now with the Omicron variant, it's kind of like they need bodies right now. So many guys are
Yeah.
out. So many guys could be out. It's kind of like risky to trade right now.
Mhm.
If you're the Lakers for a player of magnitude of Russell Westbrook, right? Because you
Yeah.
might get players in return and they both have COVID. Next thing you know, they're out 10 to 14 days.
Yeah.
So, and then you're still losing games or you're shorthanded or
Yeah.
even worse. So I just think they're going to wait. This is going to be a very bad season for them. They're going to shut LeBron down probably within the 50th or 60th game. Once they know there's no way in hell they're going to be able to climb, to the, I think they still have the 10th seed that can still get into the playoffs, correct?
Yeah. 10th seed for the playing game.
So yeah, maybe they won't, but I mean, it could get very ugly from here, man. I mean, how many games have they lost already? What, 5, 6 in a row?
This is 4 in a row now.
Yeah, four in a row, 138. Even though it was a back to back, but oh no, they didn't play a back to. Wait, did they play back to back?
They played on the
Oh no,
23rd,
they
and then
played
they,
Thursday.
yeah.
Thursday, excuse me. Yeah, Thursday. So I mean, they knew this game was coming, but they just
Yeah.
don't have enough juice, man. Like the Nets whooped them shorthandedly. I mean, the Lakers were shorthanded too, but I mean, come on, like, you know, when you have LeBron James, your team is held to a higher standard. If
Yeah.
he can't get those guys in check to run up the floor to get in position, I don't think he can control them at all. Same as Frank Vogel, same with anybody. So I just think
Oh, I think we lost him again. But kind of going to his point, as we kind of move on to the Celtics topic in just a second. Like he was talking about, like it is frustrating to see that this team has continuously not lived up to the expectations that they need to at the current point. And what I find frustrating the more so than anything at this time is, they really haven't had the role players play a huge part in their games. Carmelo Anthony's doing his stuff off the bench. Malik Monk's getting his 20 points. But Wayne Ellington's getting you nothing out there done on the court. Dwight Howard absolutely doing nothing for you on the court. Westbrook not doing anything on the court. LeBron James doing all he can. But at the same time, what is frustrating that I would say, if you are a Lakers fan, is that no one else is giving you that support. It seems like the coaching staff really shortened the rotation this game with only 1, 2, 3, like 4 or 5 guys playing off the bench, with guys like Isaiah Thomas and Rondo not really playing and DeAndre Jordan not playing. And that just kind of goes to show you like the lack of effort that DeAndre Jordan's giving you. Like if DeAndre Jordan's not really doing anything for you, that's just a wasted roster space that you could use for another player. So I think they got to look at trading some of these guys are kind of just, I would say, extra fluff, and they just need to get rid of some of that fluff to really bring in a guy that can do something off the bench. Tyrese, I'm not sure. Are you back yet, or are you still? Oh, I think we lost him again. We keep losing him. So with that being said, let us know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think of this topic? The Lakers, again, losing to the Brooklyn Nets, 122-115. Is this a time to panic for Laker Nation? Are you concerned if you are a Lakers fan or a LeBron fan? Or if you're not, let us know in the comment section why you're not concerned about this team. Tell me why you're not concerned about the Lakers at this current point, if you are a Lakers fan or a LeBron fan. I would love to know your rationale and your comments and opinions in the comment section down below. So again, please remember to hit this like, share, and subscribe button if you're new to the channel.